everybody, guess what? Guess what I've got? I've got the new palettes from Wet n Wild. Yes, I just found these yesterday in my Walgreens store, and so I've got them in a couple of these I haven't even opened yet. Petal Pusher is like some maroons and, sorry, major glare. Maroons and purples. Blue Had Me at Hello is sort of some navies and teals, and then the one I'm using in this tutorial is called Comfort Zone, and we're going to be using a lot of these olive shades there on that side of the palette. So I'd just recently gotten some requests, people saying, can we get a really hot but all drugstore eye tutorial from you? And I said, sure, because I love using the drugstore products. So we're going to go through and use some of the deeper smoky shades in this palette, and also some of those, you know, more pronounced green colors to get this look that could be worn every day or at night, you know, whatever you want to do. So if you want to see how I do it, keep on watching. Alright, first step, you're going to prime your lids. I used my Palladio Herbal Eyeshadow Primer, and then I'm going to go to my palette from Wet n Wild. It's called Comfort Zone, and we're mainly going to be using this side here that's full of great olive green colors. And I'm going to start off by using the shade that says Eyelid on it, and it's the most, I guess, kind of like a spring green type color. And so I'm just going to load that up on sort of a flat shadow brush, and then just kind of look down. That will make it easy to kind of get your whole lid coated there, and just apply that all over. Next, I'm kind of wiping off that brush, and I'm going to the shade that's just below it, and it's so pretty. It's labeled Crease, and it's just got such a pretty sparkle, talking about this side right here, and it's just really, really great to achieve the smoky effect we have. So I'm going to get a little bit of that on there, and something that I've noticed with these Color Icon shadows from Wet n Wild is sometimes you get a little more on your brush than you want and you don't realize it. So to avoid any fallout, you might get it on your brush and then tap it, you know, just kind of tap it on your hand a little bit or something, and it removes some of the excess product. Not exactly a bad issue to be having with the drugstore eyeshadows, but I mean, it just makes it a little easier to control on your eye. So as you can see, I'm just getting that all over the outer part. Then with that same shade on my brush, I'm flipping the brush over and just using that to kind of get that shade all over my crease, just like that. So I'm just kind of tapping and gently pulling up. And the last little step, if you want to work in sort of an outer V, you can use that same brush. As you can see, I'm taking it and I'm using this kind of a motion right out from the corner of my eye and just angling it up a little bit. So we've kind of got the shadow going in the general pattern we want. Here it is all blended out. Here it is when you first put it on. Next, there is a shade called Brow Bone, and it's right up here at the top. I'm going to get that falling down on me a lot, I think. But this is sort of kind of light, shimmery, with a little hint of some olive to it as well. So I'm going to get some of that on a fluffier brush here. I'm using my Sigma SS224. These are the old labeled brushes there, but I'm just going over the border of the darkest shade that we put down. So just back and forth, and you're going to see that this just functions to really not only buff out the darker shade, but you get a really seamless blend by topping it with something as you do that. Then there's an even lighter shade, kind of a creamy shade right here. It says Brow Bone on the other side of this palette, and it's just got a little shimmer to it, and I'm going to get some of that on the tip of my brush there, and I'm going to apply it right here. I find that brightening this part of the eye area, just under like the inner, I don't know, maybe third of your brow, really gives you a nice pop of color. And so that kind of differentiates that. We've got all this darkness sweeping out here, but a little light right in here really helps. While we're thinking about that light shade, I'm going to take a small detail brush and just take that right around this inner corner. Then I'm going to use this brush that I just love from Sonia Kashuk, and it is this kind of smudger brush. It's kind of short, and it's not quite as precise as, say, an angled liner brush. Going back to the shade labeled Crease, getting a little bit of that right on the tip. Remember, you may want to tap this on your hand real quickly first, because this is going to be kind of our lower liner shade, actually. So I'm just going to start working that right down here. Only go about halfway in because we're going to work in the lighter green, but when you're on the outer corner, just kind of use this brush to help you blend that in with the rest of your shadow look. And remember, for a less precise blend, instead of using it this way, rotate that brush and go like that, and you'll get an even more of a smudge on your shadow. Clean that brush off, and we're going to the shade labeled Eyelid right there. Pick up some of that shade, and we're going to kind of cover the inner portion with that. And you can kind of overlap. It's just all sort of smudged out. I'm just thinking of keeping it lighter towards the inside. Continuing with all drugstore products in this look, I'm going to be using my CoverGirl Perfect Point Plus liner in Black Onyx, and I'm going to put this on my waterline, so ever so gently. You may just want to tug down just slightly to get it so it's accessible and you're not drawing on your eyeball. I'm just going to use that same eyeliner all across my upper lash line. I'm not winging this out. I feel that the shadow has kind of taken care of that for us, so I'm just gonna, I tend to feel comfortable just starting in the center and trying to get very close to my lash line. I'm just going to go out to that side and then kind of work from that inner corner and sort of meet where you started. And I'm kind of keeping it thinner right on the inside here and letting it get a little thicker towards the outside. Now you can use this smudge tip that you've got on the end of that liner if you want to, or using this palette. I'm going back to this crease shade that I think is just, every time I look at it I'm like, wow, that's unique. That's not something you see in the drugstore very often. Got a little bit of that shade again on my Sonia Kashuk brush. I'm just kind of dotting it basically right over that liner, and what that does, I think it really gets a seamless effect from your lashes. You know, sometimes it's hard to get liners right there in your lash line, so sometimes going over it all with a dark shadow like this really gets it, you know, to where it's right up close to the lash line and looking really soft. Next step, I'm going to curl my eyelashes with my e.l.f. eyelash curler, and then I'm going to use my Almay One Coat Nourishing Mascara Triple Effect. I've always loved this mascara. I actually just recently repurchased because I had run out, but this is the brush that has like longer bristles on one end for length and shorter bristles on the other for volume. So I'm going to put that on and I'll join you with the finished look. Alright guys, here is the finished look from my Drugstore Olive eye tutorial using one of these new palettes from Wet n Wild. They've come out with 3 new color icon palettes, and so I was really excited to jump in with this olive look. And I also applied that Almay mascara on the upper, and I just went ahead and used the same one on the lower lashes because I haven't had issues with this smudging yet. So let's hope that holds true on the lower lashes as well. On my lips, I'm using my Rimmel Lasting Finish lipstick in Airy Fairy, so that's a light pink with a golden undertone. And then over the top of that, I'm using my e.l.f. Hyper Shine lip gloss in Fairy. So that is kind of a light pearly pink. Kind of like if you wore it alone, it would almost come off clear, but it has that slight shimmer to it, so I put that over the top. And I also keep track of what I'm using. I usually have like a little pad of paper like this around my makeup area, and that's how I keep track of like all the different things I've used. I don't think I don't know if anybody else could read that, but just to give you a little rundown of what I have on the rest of my face, since as I said, it is all drugstore, and I'll have this listed on my Daily Booth page too, but I use the CoverGirl Nature Luxe foundation, which I am really liking. I think it's got pretty good coverage and it smooths on so easily. I use my Hard Candy Glamouflage concealer. I use my Maybelline Fit Me pressed powder, my Hard Candy So Baked bronzer in Heat Wave, so that's kind of a little bit shimmery. The e.l.f. contouring blush and bronzer to kind of give me some contour around the cheeks, and then the blush in that I just went ahead and used, and that's kind of like peachy golden pink look. And I used my my Physicians Formula Happy Booster. This is the translucent powder. Used that for a little bit of a highlight. So I hope you enjoy this look. It is super easy, but yet a little more dramatic maybe than just everyday looks that don't do a whole lot of outer V. So keep in mind, olive is just one of those great color families that you can use on a day-to-day basis instead of going with grays and browns. So really enjoying this palette so far. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.